What if everything about your soul's mission, your spiritual gifts, and your deepest purpose was programmed into your being before you took your first breath? We're not talking about physical DNA here. We're talking about something far more profound: spiritual DNA. Soul codes that contain the blueprint for everything you're meant to become, everything you're meant to contribute, and every ability you're meant to develop. Today, we're revealing Darius J. Wright's most revolutionary discovery: how to decode and activate the hidden information patterns that have been lying dormant in your consciousness your entire life.
Because according to Darius, every soul incarnates with what he calls the complete user manual, coded instructions for awakening your gifts, fulfilling your mission, and accessing abilities that most people never even know they possess.
In the next 20 minutes, you're going to learn how to read your own soul codes, activate dormant spiritual abilities, and align with the exact purpose your soul came here to fulfill.
Fair warning, once these codes start activating, your entire life reorganizes around your authentic spiritual blueprint. There's no going back to pretending you're ordinary.
So let's be absolutely clear about what we're discussing here. When Darius J. Wright talks about spiritual DNA, he's not referring to your physical genetics, though there is a fascinating connection we'll explore.
He's talking about energetic information patterns that are encoded into your soul's structure at the quantum level. Think of it as your spirit's operating system, the fundamental programming that determines how your consciousness functions.
And here's what blew Darius's mind when he first discovered this. These soul codes aren't random. They're strategically embedded in everything from your birth date and time, to the numerical patterns in your name, to the specific challenges and opportunities that show up in your life.
According to his research, there are 3 primary layers of soul code programming running simultaneously in every human being.
First, you have mission codes, the deep programming that reveals your soul's specific purpose for this incarnation, what you came here to learn, teach, or heal.
Second, there are gift codes, the information patterns that determine your natural spiritual abilities, your psychic talent, and the unique ways your consciousness can access non-physical reality.
And third, timeline codes, the programming that maps out your soul's evolutionary journey, including when certain abilities activate, when certain lessons appear, and when you're ready for major consciousness upgrades.
But here's what's absolutely mind-blowing about Darius's discovery. Most people live their entire lives with these codes completely inactive. They're walking around with a spiritual supercomputer that they don't even know how to turn on.
It's like having the most advanced technology in the universe hardwired into your consciousness, but no one ever taught you how to access the operating manual.
And according to Darius, this isn't accidental. There are systematic efforts to keep these codes dormant because activated souls represent the greatest threat to systems of control that have ever existed.
Now, if you're feeling that spark of recognition, if something inside you is saying, yes, I've always known there was more to me than what I've been expressing, make sure you're subscribed, because we're about to unlock information that could completely transform how you understand yourself.
But here's what you absolutely cannot miss. Stay with us until the very end, because we're going to walk you through what Darius calls the complete soul code activation sequence. It's a step-by-step process for reading your own spiritual blueprint and activating dormant abilities that have been waiting your entire lifetime to emerge. This is not theoretical. This is your actual activation manual.
Here's where Darius J. Wright's research takes a dark turn, and this is information that will fundamentally change how you see the world around you.
When he started investigating why so few people access their soul codes naturally, he discovered something disturbing. There's a coordinated, multi-layered system specifically designed to keep your spiritual DNA inactive.
We're not talking about conspiracy theories here. We're talking about documented, observable patterns that consistently prevent human beings from accessing their full spiritual potential.
According to Darius, this suppression operates across 5 major systems, and each one targets a different aspect of soul code activation. The sophistication is actually brilliant if you're the one trying to control awakened consciousness.
Because here's what they discovered early on. One fully activated soul can inspire thousands of others to remember their power. It's exponential. That's why the suppression has to be comprehensive.
Let's start with the most obvious one, the educational system. According to Darius, traditional education is specifically designed to shut down the exact cognitive processes that access soul codes.
Think about it. Children are naturally intuitive, naturally creative, naturally connected to non-physical reality. But what happens the moment they enter the school system? They're told to sit still, memorize information, follow rules, and ignore their inner knowing. Any child who shows signs of psychic ability, creative genius, or spiritual sensitivity gets labeled as different or problematic.
Darius found that the critical soul code activation period is between ages 3 and 12. This is when children are most open to accessing their spiritual blueprint. And that's exactly when the system intervenes most aggressively.
By the time most people finish their education, they've been so thoroughly programmed to distrust their inner knowing that their soul codes might as well be written in a foreign language.
The system doesn't want critical thinkers, it wants compliant workers. It doesn't want spiritually gifted individuals, it wants consumers who need external validation for everything.
The second suppression system is even more insidious. Corrupted religious programming that convinces people they're inherently powerless and need external salvation.
Now, this isn't about authentic spirituality. Darius makes that clear. This is about how organized religion has been weaponized to block direct spiritual access.
Original spiritual teachings were about awakening your divine nature, activating your soul's gifts, and remembering your connection to infinite consciousness. But those teachings got flipped. Instead of, you are divine beings with unlimited potential, the message became, you are sinful, limited creatures who need someone else to save you.
According to Darius, this programming is specifically designed to prevent soul code activation because it teaches people that spiritual power is dangerous, that direct spiritual experience is forbidden, and that they should never trust their inner knowing.
The irony is devastating. Institutions that were supposed to help people connect with their souls became the primary barriers to soul code activation.
The third suppression system is what Darius calls frequency scrambling, the use of specific electromagnetic frequencies to disrupt soul code recognition.
This one's gonna sound far out, but the research is undeniable. Certain frequencies can literally interfere with your brain's ability to access higher consciousness states.
Modern media, television, radio, even some music, is broadcast at frequencies that keep your brain waves in beta state, which is the most limited, most controllable level of consciousness. But soul code activation requires alpha and theta brainwave states, the same frequencies you access during meditation, creativity, and spiritual experiences.
Darius documented how people who eliminated these interfering frequencies from their environment started spontaneously accessing abilities they didn't even know they had.
It's like removing static from a radio signal. Suddenly you can hear clearly what was always there, just being scrambled by interference. Now, the fourth suppression method is the most direct. Pharmaceutical interference with your spiritual hardware, specifically the pineal gland.
According to Darius, the pineal gland is essentially your soul code decoder. It's the physical interface between your brain and your spiritual consciousness.
But here's what's terrifying. Fluoride, which is added to most water supplies, specifically calcifies the pineal gland. It literally hardens the exact organ you need for soul code access.
Then add in the cocktail of other chemicals, medications, and environmental toxins that specifically target neurological function, and you've got a population that's biochemically prevented from accessing their spiritual abilities.
Darius found that people who detoxify their pineal glands often experienced immediate activation of dormant psychic abilities, clairvoyance, telepathy, precognition, all the gifts that are actually normal human capabilities.
It's not that these abilities are supernatural, it's that we've been systematically poisoned out of accessing our natural spiritual functions.
So why go to all this trouble? Why create such an elaborate system to suppress soul code activation? According to Darius, it's because activated souls represent an existential threat to every system of control.
When your soul codes are active, you can't be lied to because your inner knowing immediately recognizes deception. You can't be manipulated because you're operating from your authentic power instead of programmed fears.
You don't need external authorities to tell you what's true, what's possible, or what you're worth. You access that information directly from your soul's infinite intelligence.
Imagine trying to control a population where everyone had active intuition, where everyone could read energy signatures, where everyone knew their divine worth and spiritual mission.
According to Darius, that's exactly the kind of consciousness that built the ancient civilizations we can't explain. Societies where spiritual technology was more advanced than anything we have today. The suppression systems exist because someone remembers what happens when human souls are fully activated, and they're terrified that happening again.
But here's what gives me hope. Darius has documented cases of people who broke through all the suppression and activated their complete soul blueprint. The transformations are extraordinary. He worked with a woman who activated her healing codes and could literally see disease patterns in people's energy fields before physical symptoms appeared. Doctors started consulting with her because her diagnostic accuracy was higher than their machines.
Another case involved a man whose timeline codes activated, and he began accessing information about future possibilities with startling precision, not fortune-telling, actual quantum probability reading. These aren't superhuman abilities. According to Darius, these are normal functions of activated human consciousness. We've just been programmed to believe they're impossible. And here's the beautiful part. Every person who fully activates creates what Darius calls activation resonance. Their frequency helps others access their own codes more easily.
So we've seen how comprehensive the suppression system is, but here's the revolutionary part. Darius didn't just identify the problem, he cracked the code for reading your soul's blueprint despite all the interference.
Coming up, we're diving into his soul code reading system, practical methods for decoding the spiritual information that's been hidden in your birth patterns, your name, your life experiences, and even your natural challenges. Because your soul was smart enough to embed backup systems. Even with all the suppression, the codes are still there, waiting for you to remember how to read them.
Here's where Darius J. Wright's work becomes absolutely revolutionary. He didn't just discover that soul codes exist. He developed a practical system for reading them, even through all the suppression we just discussed.
According to Darius, your soul was brilliant enough to embed your spiritual blueprint in multiple locations, using what he calls quantum redundancy. Even if one access point gets blocked, others remain available.
The genius is that these codes are hidden in plain sight, in information that's so basic to your existence that no suppression system could ever eliminate it without literally erasing you.
He identified 4 primary code categories that every soul uses to embed its mission, gifts, and evolutionary timeline. And once you know how to read them, it's like having a direct conversation with your higher self.
What we're about to share isn't just theory. This is the actual decoding system that Darius has tested with thousands of people, and the accuracy is staggering.
The first code category is what Darius calls birth date mathematics, and this goes far beyond traditional numerology.
According to his research, your soul doesn't incarnate randomly. The exact date, time, and location of your birth creates a unique energetic signature that encodes your mission, your challenges, and your gifts.
But here's where Darius's system differs from regular numerology. He discovered that the soul embeds different types of information in different mathematical relationships within your birth data.
Your birthday number reveals your core soul mission, the primary reason you incarnated. Your birth month shows your emotional and intuitive gifts. Your birth year indicates your generational karma and collective contribution.
But the real breakthrough came when Darius realized that the mathematical relationships between these numbers create what he calls mission activation codes.
For example, someone born on the 15th has the combined energies of 1 and 5. But when you add them to get 6, you're not just getting the number 6, you're getting a specific mission about bringing innovative leadership to nurturing and healing.
And when you calculate the relationships between day, month, and year, you get your soul contract number, which reveals the specific agreement your soul made before incarnating.
Darius found that people who align their lives with their birth date mathematics start experiencing what he calls timeline synchronicity. Everything starts flowing because they're finally operating according to their soul's natural rhythm.
The second code category is name frequency analysis. And this one blew my mind when I first learned about it.
According to Darius, your name, especially the name you were given at birth, isn't chosen by your parents. It's chosen by your soul through them, because specific sound frequencies activate specific aspects of your spiritual DNA.
Every letter carries a vibrational signature, and when you combine the letters in your name, you create a unique frequency pattern that literally calls your soul gifts into activation.
But here's what's fascinating. Darius discovered that people often have hidden name codes in nicknames, middle names, or names they're drawn to but never use.
He worked with a woman whose birth name indicated teaching and communication gifts, but she felt called to a completely different name that revealed healing abilities. When she started using that name professionally, her entire career transformed.
The technique involves analyzing the numerical values of letters, but also the phonetic frequencies, because your soul responds to the actual sound vibrations, not just the written symbols.
What makes this so powerful is that when you understand your name frequency codes, you can consciously use sound and vibration to activate specific gifts. It's like having the activation passwords for your spiritual abilities.
Darius found that people who align with their true name frequencies often discover talents they never knew they had, because the name was literally designed to unlock those capabilities.
The third code category is what Darius calls life challenge patterns. And this one transforms how you see every difficult experience you've ever had.
According to his research, your soul doesn't just incarnate with gifts and missions. It also comes with specific karmic patterns that need to be cleared for full activation.
But here's the revolutionary part. These aren't punishments. They're precisely designed challenges that, when resolved, unlock specific spiritual abilities.
Darius discovered that recurring themes in your life, relationship patterns, health challenges, financial struggles, career obstacles, are actually coded activation sequences.
Every time you face one of these patterns, your soul is offering you an opportunity to transcend a limitation and activate a higher capability.
He identified what he calls the Sacred Seven, 7 primary karma-clearing patterns that appear in different combinations for different souls.
For example, people with authority challenge patterns often struggle with bosses, institutions, or following rules. But when they resolve this pattern, they activate natural leadership abilities and become powerful advocates for others.
Or people with abandonment challenge patterns repeatedly experience loss or rejection. But when they heal this, they activate profound empathy and become gifted healers who can help others feel truly seen and valued.
The genius is that your challenges aren't obstacles. They're your soul's training program for developing the exact abilities you came here to master.
According to Darius, when you understand your life challenge patterns, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start recognizing them as activation opportunities.
The fourth code category is natural ability signatures. And this one is where most people discover they have gifts they never recognized.
Darius found that every soul incarnates with what he calls signature abilities, natural talents and capacities that are so easy for you, you don't even realize they're special.
The problem is we're taught to value what's difficult and dismiss what comes naturally. So people often ignore their greatest gifts because they don't seem like work.
But according to Darius, these effortless abilities are actually your soul's primary tools for fulfilling your mission.
He developed a system for identifying these signatures by looking at patterns of what energizes you versus what drains you, what you've always been good at regardless of training, and what people naturally come to you for help with.
But the deeper layer involves recognizing dormant signatures,
abilities that haven't fully activated yet, but show up as strong attractions, curiosities, or intuitive knowings.
For example, someone might feel inexplicably drawn to crystals, energy healing, or ancient wisdom without understanding why. According to Darius, that attraction is your soul recognizing dormant abilities that are ready to activate.
Or you might have prophetic dreams, strong gut instincts about people, or the ability to sense energy in rooms. These aren't coincidences, they're your natural ability signatures trying to come online.
The key is learning to recognize and trust these signatures instead of dismissing them as imagination or wish thinking.
Now, here's where Darius' system becomes truly practical. He discovered that these 4 code categories don't operate independently. They work together to create your complete soul blueprint.
Your birth date mathematics provides the timing and structure. Your name frequency gives you the activation tools. Your life challenges create the growth opportunities. And your natural abilities show you the gifts you're developing.
But the magic happens when you start reading the relationships between categories. That's where your soul's deepest secrets are hidden.
For example, if your birth date indicates a teaching mission, your name frequency resonates with communication, your life challenges involve authority conflicts, and your natural abilities include sensing others' emotions, your soul is coding you to be a revolutionary educator who challenges existing systems through emotional intelligence.
According to Darius, most people only access about 20% of their soul code information because they read each category separately instead of seeing the integrated pattern.
But when you start recognizing how your codes work together, you get what he calls blueprint clarity, a direct knowing of exactly why you're here and what you're meant to contribute.
But here's where people get confused, and Darius is very clear about this distinction. There's a massive difference between ego desires and soul mission programming.
Ego desires come from programming, comparison, and fear. They're usually about getting something external: money, status, approval, security.
Soul mission programming comes from your authentic nature and serves something larger than yourself. It's about expressing, creating, healing, or contributing in ways that feel deeply fulfilling.
According to Darius, ego desires often conflict with your soul codes, which is why people can achieve everything they thought they wanted and still feel empty.
But when you align with your authentic soul programming, the energy flows differently. Work doesn't feel like work. Challenges become adventures. Resources appear when you need them.
The way to tell the difference is simple. Soul mission activities energize you, even when they're challenging. Ego desires drain you even when you succeed at them.
So now you understand how to read your soul's blueprint. But knowing your codes is only the beginning. The transformation happens when you activate them.
Coming up, we're diving into what Darius calls the complete soul code activation sequence, the specific protocols he developed for awakening dormant abilities and aligning your entire life with your spiritual blueprint.
Because reading your codes is like having a map to treasure, but activation is actually going on the journey and claiming what belongs to you.
Here's where Darius J. Wright's work becomes absolutely game-changing. He didn't just figure out how to read soul codes. He developed precise activation protocols that can awaken dormant spiritual abilities in a matter of weeks.
We're talking about techniques that can literally turn on psychic abilities, activate healing gifts, and align you with your soul mission so powerfully that your entire reality reorganizes around your authentic purpose.
According to Darius, most spiritual awakening happens accidentally and takes decades. But when you understand the activation science, you can consciously accelerate the process.
What we're about to share is his complete activation sequence, 4 protocols that work together to awaken your spiritual DNA systematically and safely.
But I need to warn you, once you start these protocols, there's no going back to pretending you're ordinary. Your soul codes will activate and your life will transform whether you're ready or not.
The first protocol is what Darius calls frequency alignment meditation, and this isn't your typical mindfulness practice.
According to his research, every soul has a unique vibrational signature, like a spiritual fingerprint. When you match that frequency consciously, your dormant abilities start coming online automatically.
The technique involves using your birth date mathematics and name frequencies to create what he calls your soul resonance pattern.
You start by calculating your core soul numbers, then converting them into specific breathing rhythms, visualization patterns, and sound frequencies.
For example, if your soul number is 7, you breathe in patterns of 7. Visualize sacred geometry with 7-fold symmetry, and tone specific frequencies that resonate with that numerical vibration.
But here's what makes this so powerful. Darius discovered that when you meditate at your soul's exact frequency for just 20 minutes daily, your pineal gland starts decalcifying, your intuitive abilities strengthen, and you begin receiving direct guidance from your higher self.
People report incredible results within the first week. Vivid prophetic dreams, sudden knowing about people and situations, spontaneous healing abilities, and what Darius calls timeline clarity, knowing exactly what steps to take next.
The key is consistency. According to Darius, your soul codes respond to regular frequency alignment like a muscle responds to exercise. The more you practice, the stronger the activation becomes.
Protocol 2, Timeline Integration Technique, Healing Soul Fragmentation.
The second protocol addresses what Darius discovered is the biggest obstacle to full activation: soul fragmentation.
According to his research, most people have parts of their soul energy scattered across different timelines, past experiences, and even alternate versions of themselves.
Every trauma, every major disappointment, every time you abandoned your authentic self to fit in, those experiences create energetic splits that prevent full soul code activation.
The timeline integration technique is designed to call back these fragmented pieces and integrate them into your current consciousness.
The process involves what Darius calls quantum healing journeys, guided meditations where you travel back to key moments in your timeline and retrieve the soul energy that got left behind.
But this isn't just psychological healing. This is energy work at the quantum level. You're literally gathering scattered aspects of your consciousness and reintegrating them.
The technique starts with what Darius calls power loss points, moments when you gave away your energy, stopped believing in yourself, or chose security over authenticity.
Then you use specific visualization and energy techniques to travel back to those moments, reclaim your power, and bring that energy forward to support your current activation.
According to Darius, people often experience dramatic shifts after timeline integration: sudden confidence, clarity about their purpose, recovery of forgotten talents, and what he calls soul wholeness, feeling complete and powerful for the first time.
He documented cases where people recovered artistic abilities they'd abandoned in childhood, healing gifts they'd suppressed, and leadership qualities they'd given away to avoid responsibility. Protocol 3, Gift Recognition Exercise, Identifying Dormant Abilities.
The third protocol is what Darius calls the gift recognition exercise. And this is where most people discover they have abilities they never imagined.
The problem isn't that people lack spiritual gifts. It's that they don't recognize them because they've been programmed to dismiss anything that doesn't fit conventional reality.
According to Darius, dormant abilities often show up as strange experiences that people explain away. Déjà vu, knowing who's calling before the phone rings, sensing someone's emotions without them saying anything.
The gift recognition exercise involves systematically cataloging these experiences and recognizing them as evidence of your developing abilities.
The technique starts with what he calls ability archaeology, going back through your life and identifying moments when you displayed psychic, healing, or intuitive abilities.
Most people are shocked to discover how many gifts they've been unconsciously using. They just dismiss them as coincidence, luck, or imagination.
Then you use specific exercises to strengthen and develop these natural abilities. For example, if you've always been good at sensing people's moods, you practice energy reading techniques. If you've had prophetic dreams, you develop your precognitive abilities.
But here's the key insight from Darius. Your gifts always serve your mission. The abilities you develop aren't random. They're the exact tools your soul needs to fulfill its purpose.
So, someone with a healing mission develops empathy, energy sensitivity, and intuitive diagnosis abilities. Someone with a teaching mission develops communication gifts, the ability to simplify complex information, and inspiring presence.
The gift recognition exercise helps you identify not just what gifts you have, but how they fit together to support your soul's larger purpose.
Protocol 4, Mission Clarity Process, Understanding Your Soul Purpose Code. The fourth protocol is what Darius considers the most important, the mission clarity process that reveals your exact soul purpose and how to fulfill it.
According to his research, most people struggle with purpose because they're looking for one grand mission, but souls actually incarnate with what he calls layered purpose codes.
You have a personal mission, healing specific patterns, developing certain abilities, mastering particular lessons. You have a service mission, how you contribute to others' growth and healing. And you have a collective mission, your role in humanity's larger evolution.
The mission clarity process helps you decode all three layers and understand how they work together.
The technique involves deep meditation combined with life pattern analysis. You examine your natural interests, your recurring challenges, the types of people you attract, and the problems you feel called to solve. But the breakthrough comes when you start recognizing what Darius calls mission synchronicities, the way life conspires to support you when you're aligned with your authentic purpose.
People in the right mission experience what he calls effortless flow. Resources appear, opportunities manifest, the right people show up, and obstacles dissolve almost magically.
According to Darius, when people complete the mission clarity process, they stop searching for their purpose and start living it. The question changes from, what should I do, to how can I serve even more powerfully?
Now, before you dive into these protocols, Darius wants you to understand what happens when your soul codes start activating, because the process can be intense.
First, you might experience what he calls reality flexibility. Synchronicities increase dramatically, manifestation speeds up, and the boundaries between your inner world and outer reality start blurring.
You might also notice sensitivity amplification. You become more affected by people's energy. Certain environments feel overwhelming, and you need more solitude to process the increased psychic input.
Sleep patterns often change because your consciousness is doing a lot of integration work during dream states. You might need more sleep, or you might find yourself waking up at specific times with downloads of information.
Physical symptoms can include energy surges, changes in appetite, and what Darius calls frequency adjustments. Your body literally recalibrating to hold higher consciousness.
But the most significant change is what he calls authenticity acceleration. You lose the ability to pretend, people please, or tolerate situations that aren't aligned with your truth.
If these activation symptoms sound intense, that's because they are. According to Darius, rapid soul code activation can be overwhelming if you don't know how to manage the process.
The key is what he calls conscious integration, taking time to understand and integrate each new ability before moving to the next level.
He recommends starting with just one protocol at a time, practicing it consistently for at least 2 weeks before adding another element.
It's also crucial to create what he calls a support matrix, surrounding yourself with people who understand spiritual development and can offer guidance when things get intense.
Most importantly, Darius emphasizes that activation is meant to serve love, not ego. If you start developing abilities but using them for personal advantage or control, the process will create more problems than solutions.
The goal isn't to become spiritually special. It's to become authentically useful to the greater healing and evolution of consciousness.
So you've learned how to decode your soul blueprint and activate your dormant abilities. But the real transformation happens when you start living from this activated state consistently.
Coming up, we're exploring what life looks like when your soul codes are fully operational. How activated souls naturally attract their tribe, fulfill their mission, and contribute to the larger evolution of human consciousness.
Because according to Darius, individual activation is just the beginning. The real goal is planetary activation, a critical mass of awakened souls creating the consciousness shift that changes everything.
Here's what Darius J. Wright discovered about people who have fully activated their soul codes. Their entire reality operates by different rules than the rest of humanity.
We're talking about individuals who live in what he calls conscious creation mode, where their thoughts, intentions, and actions align so perfectly with their soul's blueprint that manifestation becomes effortless.
According to his research, activated souls don't struggle with the same problems that consume most people's energy. They don't waste time on activities that drain them, relationships that diminish them, or work that feels meaningless.
It's not that their lives become perfect, it's that their challenges become purposeful. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity for growth, every setback reveals important information, and every difficulty strengthens their spiritual abilities.
Darius documented that people with active soul codes experience what he calls life coherence, where their inner knowing, their external circumstances, and their daily actions all support the same evolutionary direction.
They stop living by society's timeline and start operating on soul time, knowing when to act, when to wait, when to push forward, and when to allow things to unfold naturally.
But perhaps the most dramatic change is in their relationships with other people. When your soul codes are active, you literally become a different person energetically.
One of the most beautiful aspects of soul code activation is what Darius calls resonant attraction. You naturally start drawing people whose codes complement and support yours.
According to his research, souls incarnate in clusters, and when your codes activate, you begin recognizing the other members of your spiritual family.
These aren't necessarily people you've known your whole life. Often, they're individuals who suddenly appear when you're ready for the next level of your mission.
Darius found that activated souls can literally feel the resonance when they meet someone with compatible codes. There's an immediate recognition, like meeting a long-lost family member.
But here's what's fascinating. These connections aren't just personal. They're strategic. Your soul tribe consists of people whose gifts complement yours to accomplish something larger than any of you could achieve individually.
He worked with a group of activated souls who independently received guidance to move to the same city. When they found each other, they realized their combined abilities created what he calls a consciousness catalyst. Their collective energy activated other souls in their area.
It's like each person is a unique instrument, but when the right souls come together, they form an orchestra that can create transformation on a massive scale.
According to Darius, this tribal recognition is accelerating rapidly because we're approaching what he calls critical mass, the point where enough souls are activated to trigger planetary consciousness shift.
But finding your tribe also means recognizing when relationships no longer serve your evolution. Activated souls often experience what Darius calls frequency incompatibility, with people operating from fear, manipulation, or unconsciousness.
Now, one of the biggest questions people have about soul code activation is how to fulfill a spiritual mission while living in a material world with bills, responsibilities, and practical limitations.
According to Darius, this is where most people get confused because they think spiritual mission means abandoning worldly success. But the opposite is actually true.
When your soul codes are fully activated, material success becomes a natural byproduct of authentic service. Money, resources, and opportunities flow to support your mission because you're aligned with universal creativity.
Darius found that activated souls often experience what he calls abundance magnetism. They attract exactly what they need when they need it, but not through manipulation or desperation.
The key is understanding that your mission isn't separate from your career, your relationships, or your daily life. Your mission is the organizing principle that aligns everything else.
For example, he worked with someone whose soul codes revealed a mission around healing collective trauma. She didn't become a therapist. She became a business consultant who helped organizations heal toxic cultures.
Another person with codes indicating teaching and transformation became a fitness instructor, but his real mission was helping people reclaim their physical power as a pathway to spiritual confidence.
According to Darius, your soul mission can be fulfilled.
Here's what Darius J. Wright discovered about people who successfully activate their complete soul blueprint. Their entire reality transforms in ways that seem almost miraculous to outside observers.
We're not talking about small improvements here. We're talking about people who completely reshape their lives around their authentic spiritual mission and start experiencing what he calls soul-led reality.
According to Darius, when your codes are fully activated, you stop trying to make things happen and start allowing your soul's intelligence to orchestrate your life.
The difference is profound. Instead of struggling against resistance, you flow with synchronicity. Instead of forcing outcomes, you trust the process. Instead of seeking validation, you operate from inner knowing.
But what's most remarkable is how activated souls start naturally attracting everything they need: the right people, resources, opportunities, and experiences to fulfill their mission.
Darius documented this phenomenon across thousands of cases. He calls it mission magnetism. When you're truly aligned with your soul's purpose, the universe conspires to support you in ways that defy conventional logic.
One of the first things that happens when your soul codes activate is what Darius calls tribe magnetism. You start attracting other activated souls who are meant to collaborate with you.
According to his research, souls incarnate in clusters with complementary missions and gifts. But most people never find their spiritual family because their codes aren't active enough to recognize each other.
When your codes come online, you develop what he calls soul recognition, the ability to instantly identify other people who are operating from their authentic blueprint.
It's like having a spiritual radar that can detect consciousness levels, mission alignment, and karmic connections. You meet someone and immediately know whether they're part of your soul group or not.
But here's what's beautiful about this process. Your soul tribe isn't just social connections. These are the people you're meant to co-create with, learn from, and serve alongside.
Darius found that activated souls often spontaneously form what he calls mission collectives, groups of people whose individual purposes weave together to create something much larger.
For example, he worked with a group where one person had healing gifts, another had teaching abilities, another had business skills, and another had artistic talents. Separately, they were powerful. Together, they created a healing center that transformed their entire community.
The key insight is that your soul mission isn't meant to be fulfilled alone. You incarnate it as part of a team, and activation helps you find and recognize your teammates.
When activated souls collaborate, they create what Darius calls exponential impact. The combined effect of their work is far greater than the sum of their individual contributions.
But individual and group activation is still just the beginning of what Darius discovered. The real purpose of soul code activation is contributing to what he calls planetary consciousness evolution.
According to his research, we're currently in the middle of the largest consciousness shift in human history, and activated souls are the catalysts for this transformation.
Every person who awakens their spiritual DNA doesn't just transform their own life. They raise the frequency of everyone around them through what he calls consciousness contagion.
It's like how one person's laughter can make an entire room start laughing. One person's authentic power gives others permission to access their own power.
Darius calculated that we need approximately 144,000 fully activated souls to reach what he calls critical mass, the tipping point where consciousness evolution becomes inevitable rather than optional.
And here's what's exciting. According to his tracking, we're already approaching that number. The acceleration of awakening over the past few years isn't random. It's the natural result of more souls activating and inspiring others.
But the transition isn't automatic. It requires conscious participation from activated souls who understand their role in the larger transformation.
According to Darius, every activated soul has a responsibility to anchor higher consciousness in their environment, whether that's their family, workplace, community, or field of influence.
This doesn't mean preaching or trying to convert people. It means living so authentically from your spiritual truth that others naturally start questioning their own limitations.
So, how do you know if you're successfully living from your activated soul blueprint? Darius identified specific indicators that show you're aligned with your authentic mission.
First, you experience what he calls effortless excellence. Your work feels like play. You're naturally good at what you do, and you produce results that seem disproportionate to your effort.
Second, you develop magnetic attraction. The right people, opportunities, and resources consistently show up without you having to chase them.
Third, you feel deep fulfillment, regardless of external circumstances. Even when facing challenges, there's an underlying sense of rightness and purpose that sustains you.
Fourth, you notice accelerated growth in yourself and others around you. Your presence seems to catalyze transformation and awakening in people you interact with.
And fifth, you experience timeline harmony. Events in your life unfold with perfect timing, and you develop an intuitive sense of when to act and when to wait.
According to Darius, people living their authentic mission also develop what he calls universal trust, a deep knowing that they're supported by intelligence far greater than their personal will.
They stop trying to control outcomes and start collaborating with the natural flow of life. Paradoxically, this makes them far more effective than when they were trying to force results.
But here's a challenge that every activated soul faces. How do you maintain your high-frequency state in a world where most people are still operating from fear, limitation, and unconscious programming?
Darius found that this is actually one of the biggest tests of authentic activation. It's easy to feel spiritually advanced when you're surrounded by like-minded people, but can you maintain your truth in hostile environments?
According to his research, truly activated souls develop what he calls frequency stability, the ability to hold their consciousness level regardless of external chaos.
This requires developing strong energetic boundaries, regular spiritual practices, and what he calls mission focus, staying connected to your larger purpose even when daily life gets overwhelming.
But the key insight is that activated souls aren't meant to retreat from the world. They're meant to transform it by anchoring higher consciousness within challenging environments.
Darius documented cases of people who literally transformed toxic workplaces, healed dysfunctional family systems, and shifted entire communities just by consistently operating from their authentic power.
The secret is understanding that you're not trying to change people directly. You're anchoring a frequency that gives others permission to access their own higher nature.
According to Darius, every activated soul becomes what he calls a consciousness beacon, a stable point of higher frequency that helps others remember their own spiritual potential. But let's zoom out to the bigger picture of what all this individual activation is building toward, because according to Darius, we're literally co-creating what he calls the new Earth.
This isn't some distant utopian dream. This is a practical transformation that's happening as more souls activate and start operating from their authentic blueprint.
Darius envisions a society where spiritual development is valued over material accumulation, where decisions are made from wisdom rather than fear, and where every person's gifts are recognized and utilized.
He calls it soul-based society, a culture where institutions support human potential rather than suppress it, where education develops consciousness as well as intellect, and where leadership comes from spiritual maturity rather than political maneuvering.
And this isn't just idealistic thinking. Darius has documented examples of communities, businesses, and organizations that are already operating from these principles with remarkable success.
The key insight is that this transformation happens organically as more souls activate. We don't need to overthrow existing systems. We need to embody alternatives that are so obviously superior that others naturally want to participate.
According to Darius,
Every person who activates their soul codes and lives their authentic mission is literally voting for this new reality with their consciousness and actions.
And the beautiful part is that you don't have to wait for everyone else to change. You can start experiencing new Earth consciousness immediately by aligning with your soul blueprint and connecting with other activated beings.
So, here's the final piece that Darius wants every person to understand. Your soul didn't incarnate at this time by accident.
You chose to be here during the greatest consciousness shift in human history because your specific gifts, your unique mission, and your particular combination of abilities are needed for this transformation.
Whether you realize it or not, you're part of what he calls the awakening team. Souls who volunteer to incarnate during this crucial period to help facilitate humanity's evolution.
Your soul codes contain not just your individual mission, but also your piece of the collective puzzle that's creating a more conscious civilization.
According to Darius, the question isn't whether you're qualified or ready. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. The question is whether you'll answer the call and step into your full spiritual potential.
Every day you delay your activation is a day that your unique piece of the solution isn't available to help heal and transform the world.
But every day you choose to align with your authentic blueprint, develop your gifts, and serve from your soul's intelligence, you're contributing to the most magnificent transformation our planet has ever experienced.
So, as we complete this journey through Darius J. Wright's soul code activation system, remember this. You are not a random biological accident trying to figure out meaning in a meaningless universe.
You are a powerful spiritual being whose soul chose to incarnate at this precise moment in history with specific gifts, abilities, and mission codes designed to contribute to humanity's evolution.
Everything you need to fulfill your purpose is already encoded within you. The techniques we've shared today aren't about becoming someone else, they're about remembering who you've always been.
Your soul codes are activating whether you consciously participate or not, because this transformation is bigger than individual choice. It's a planetary, evolutionary event.
But when you consciously align with your spiritual blueprint, when you deliberately activate your gifts, and when you courageously step into your mission, you transform from a passive participant to a conscious co-creator of the new reality.
The world needs what you came here to give. Your soul tribe is looking for you. Your mission is waiting for your full commitment.
The only question remaining is, are you ready to stop pretending you're ordinary and start living as the extraordinary spiritual being you truly are?
If this information has activated something inside you, if you feel that spark of recognition and readiness to step into your full spiritual potential, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell.
Share this video with anyone who's ready to discover their soul mission and activate their spiritual gifts. The more conscious souls we can awaken, the faster we reach the critical mass for planetary transformation.
And let us know in the comments, what soul codes are you recognizing in yourself? What gifts are ready to activate? Your sharing helps others recognize their own patterns and accelerates collective awakening.
Next week, we're diving even deeper into interdimensional consciousness with galactic DNA activation, the cosmic codes that prove you're not from Earth.
We'll explore Darius's research into how certain souls carry what he calls starseed programming, cosmic codes that indicate origin from advanced civilizations and mission to uplift human consciousness.
If you want to continue your soul code journey right now, check out our video, Ancient Soul Memories, Why You Remember Lives You've Never Lived. It perfectly complements today's activation techniques.
And don't miss the light body activation. Darius reveals your spiritual anatomy, essential information for anyone serious about conscious spiritual development.
Remember, your soul codes are already activating. The question is whether you'll consciously participate in becoming who you really are.
Until next time, stay activated, stay authentic, and keep remembering your magnificent truth.